Welcome back to Mac's Garage. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of snowmobile work, and I'm checking out an engine I bought probably a year or two ago. It was supposed to be a fresh rebuild. It popped up for sale. It was the right price, so I bought it. It's got fresh pistons in it. The two outboard cylinders look really nice crosshatch wise. Center one's a little bit disappointing, but I gave it the best once over I really could during the purchase process. Now that I've got it home and I'm starting to tear some stuff off, I'm seeing some more things. Like, it had an exhaust manifold on it. The intakes were all taped up. I pulled some spark plugs. I kind of looked down through there the best I could. But as I was giving it a little bit more thorough check over before I put it in my sled, I noticed something. I'm going to roll it over and maybe you'll hear it, maybe you won't. Alright, so I'm not sure if you heard that or not, but there's a clicking noise that's coming from this cylinder. So this would be cylinder number 3 on this engine. I'll bring the camera in and kind of show you what's going on. Alright, so as you can see, I hope, yeah. So up top here, this is the power valve on the top side up here. The piston is going to move up, and watch what happens as it does that. I guess it's going to move down first. Now it's moving up. So the power valve is actually running into the piston. That's a bad thing. So we're going to pop that off and see what's going on. So when I bought this, there was somebody that was coming up here to go riding, so it must have been last winter, or actually maybe the winter before, I don't remember. But anyway, it was somebody that I met as they were on their way to go riding, or maybe it was summer, they might have been going to ride four-wheelers, I really don't remember. But I talked to the guy for a little bit. He seemed pretty knowledgeable. It sounded like he had worked on snowmobiles in a dealership setting for Ski-Doo, which gives you a little bit more confidence. But as of right now, that valve looks way too narrow to me. Oops, wrong power tool. Alright. And it is. So this is definitely not the right valve. Check this out. So this is the groove that the power valves, oops, there we go. That's a better view. That is the groove that the power valve sits into, and this just clearly is not the right valve. Fortunately for me, I have a bunch of parts here, so I'll have the right valve. I'll just go ahead, grab that, swap it out. I didn't see the issue with either of the other cylinders, so that must be all right. Now, as you can see on the outside, this cylinder's real clean. This cylinder's kind of nasty. This cylinder's real clean. And the inside is kind of the same deal. So this cylinder, either these two cylinders have been machined and cleaned up and all that stuff, and this one hasn't, or I don't know. I guess I don't really know what the story on it is. It's supposed to have a fresh crank. It definitely does have fresh pistons. The reality is it's middle of February, and I'm just going to drop this in and run it after I fix the power valve. Alright, so here's my valve out of a different engine. You can see that actually fits side to side, so if I get my hand out of the way, it actually fits. If it drops all the way down in, it probably won't jump up. Alright, so the cylinder just turned all the way around without hitting anything. I'm going to go ahead and grab my valve off of this engine. Just spin that baby out. Actually, now that I look at it, this has a totally different look to it than the other valve that I have. I'll pop one more of these off, take a look at what we got underneath there. Okay, this appears to all have this style. See how it's got kind of a cup around the outside. We've got some sealing rings, whatever. All right, put that back together. Continue threading this one out. I'm going to take my O-ring off the valve that doesn't fit, put it onto the valve that does fit. A little bit of two-stroke oil will work on this. Okay, so I'll just take a touch of two-stroke oil. That's what's going to lube this thing when it's actually running anyway. There is a special lube that you use for these O-rings, but just a little bit of two-stroke will do fine. Put that assembly back in. Spin it around. Okay, so this tightens down at a little bit different spot, but these O-rings are movable, so do that. So now we've got these holes in the bottom here that line up with the port in the cylinder head. Those are lined up. Drop this thing back in here. Somehow between taking the valve off the other motor and putting this valve into this engine, I've lost my ratchet, so it can't be very far, but I'll just switch ratchets for right now. Go with my nice bendy head, angled one. Snug that up. Pretty small screw, don't go crazy on those. I'll put it back together with the spring that was on here. The reality is that I'm going to swap springs out with the engine that is in the sled. The reason being that these springs control how these valves open, what RPM and all that stuff, and the ones that are in the sled work with the pipes that are on the sled. These ones, I don't know if they will or not. So we'll put it back together for right now, but when it actually goes in, we'll swap those out. Other than that, it looked like there was oil in the bottom end. Every time one of those pistons went down, it came up with a little bit of oil on it. The center cylinder, the honing and that did not look super awesome in, but it will do. The reality is that it's the middle of February. The engine that's in there, I'll go a little bit more into detail in it in a different video, but I don't feel confident in running it. I want to ride the sled this year, so this engine's going to go in there, and while it's in there, I'll do something with the one that comes out, and swap it back at some point. So for right now, that's it. I've got a little bit more looking over, cleaning stuff up, taking the tape off of different areas and getting this totally ready to go in the sled, but it's pretty much there. And thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you later.